Everybody, it's the phenomenal STEMist. Thanks so much for joining. Sorry for the late start. I'm going to get started real soon. Just give me an opportunity to share my page on my homepage. Remember to like and follow Phenomenal STEMist so you can see me right away. It's the last Sunday in February. And I am talking about famous Black computer scientists and mathematicians. I had a good time with you guys for this month, starting off with famous Black scientists. Then I focused on famous Black engineers. And this week, I'm just going to focus on famous Black computer scientists and mathematicians. And I mean, I just barely scratched the surface. Because of time. But there's just so many opportunities for our students, our children, to learn about people of color beyond the stereotype. So I hope I gave you that opportunity. I would love for you to do research on your own. Have your children do research. I mean, that's what I did as a kid. I learned about Marian Anderson and Leontine Price and Maya Angelou. And I mean, man, I knew my history. I knew the history of African Americans in this country. And I would love for all our children to really aspire. Your esteem is built when you're more than just the typical. All right. So anyway, we're focusing on Black computer scientists and mathematicians. We'll start with Dr. Kyla McCullen. Dr. Kyla McCullen. I just tend to find people. I just found some people and I wanted to highlight them. And this is a young African American female. She's the first African American female who got her PhD in computer science from the University of Michigan. Can you imagine that? And that's just 6 years ago. 6 years ago. So U of M had not graduated anyone with a PhD of color, of African American descent. Can you believe that? 6 years. So she's an assistant professor at Clemson University School of Computing, and she basically researches virtual environments. I found this survey in 2012, 1.2% of computer science PhDs awarded in the year 2010 and 11 were to African Americans, which is just 16 people. 16 people. Wow. That deserves a moment of silence. In 2011, only 16 African Americans received a PhD in computer science. We need more computer scientists. And we need more PhDs. It takes work. It takes dedication. It takes motivation. But there isn't, there's a lot of people that will be techs, IT techs, but not a lot are willing to go all the way. Guys, I think it's so important that we promote STEM in our children: science, technology, which is computer science, basically, engineering, and mathematics. It takes work, I know, but it's worth it. And there's several opportunities for our students, much more than it would be for the NBA or the NFL. We just got to put them into place. All right. Shout out to Dr. Kyla McCullen, first African American female to receive her PhD in computer sciences. All right, the hidden figure herself, Katherine Johnson. Katherine Johnson gained some popularity within recent years because of the movie Hidden Figures. This is about an African American female who calculated and analyzed flight paths of a spacecraft for more than 3 decades without any of us knowing. Um, it's funny in the years of segregation, it seemed to be promoted a lot of uh, incompetence, poverty amongst African Americans. But truth be told, um, there were a whole lot of educated African Americans, even in the midst of segregation. I would even say there were more physicians, for instance, per capita back then than there are now. We are struggling in creating Black physicians now as compared to before. We had people of color doing great things. They were just hidden. They were hidden. This is a hidden figure. Her work helped astronauts get to the moon. Her mathematical skills, her calculations. You got to see that movie Hidden Figures to really appreciate Miss Katherine Johnson. Just recently, an institute, a building was named after her. They named it the Katherine G. Johnson Computational Research Facility. Shout out to Katherine Johnson, mathematician, whose work helped chart flights to outer space. Black woman. All right. Famous mathematicians. We got to go back into history. Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker, first African American man of science. He was born in 1731. First known African American man in science. He dealt with mathematics and astronomy. Like he published an almanac. He in 1789 he successfully predicted an eclipse. He did all the calculations for his almanac. He was a mathematical genius. In the 1700s, right? In the height of slavery, we had an African American man, the first we know of as a scientist, Benjamin Banneker. He was a mathematician and an astronomer. All right. Lastly, Dr. David Blackwell. Dr. David Blackwell received his PhD in statistics from University of Illinois. We're talking about famous mathematicians and computer scientists. Focus heavily on mathematicians. So Benjamin Banneker was mainly a mathematician. Katherine Johnson was a mathematician. And David Blackwell, he is a mathematician, have his PhD in statistics. He was the president of the Institute of Mathematical Statistics in 1955 in the midst of segregation. Don't let anybody tell you that, Black people weren't excelling in this country pre-segregation. Remember, Dr. Martin Luther King had his doctorate in the midst of segregation. Like he was down there in Alabama planning a bus boycott after he received his doctorate, not before. What we had were educated people who galvanized their people to do better. And I'm wondering, are we doing the same today? Dr. Blackwell became the first African American named to the National Academy of Sciences. First African American in 1965. In 79, he won the von Neumann Theory Prize, which deals with research in mathematics. Shout out to David H. Blackwell, Dr. David Blackwell, PhD, first African American named to the National Academy of Science, mathematician. I hope you've learned from me this month. I hope you do some more research to find more famous Black scientists, technologists, engineers, and mathematicians. To show your kids that though the stereotype is shown in media in certain ways, never forget that we had brilliant people in Africa. We had brilliant people who have been taken from the shores of Africa to this diaspora, whether it be the West Indies, South America, or North America. Right here in America, during the steeps of Jim Crow, we had African Americans pushing themselves to the highest level. And right now, we are at a cusp. We can do the same. But in order to do that, in order to it not just be 16 Black people with PhDs from the University of Michigan in computer sciences, we have to get our kids involved today. We have to start training them today. And the foundation of that is role modeling, showing them that it has been done before. And after showing them that it has been done, giving them opportunities to learn science, technology, engineering, and math. Please, March is approaching. My Phenomenal STEM program begins starting in March. Phenomenal STEM Prep. It's a 3-month program teaching children science, technology, engineering, and math at their level. And I'm talking about from pre-K all the way to the 12th grade. We're focusing heavily on biology, physics, and chemistry, teaching them the foundations of biology, physics, and chemistry. So sign your kid up. You can either inbox me at Phenomenal STEMist. You can email me at drbest@gmail, drbest@gmail.com. You can go on to phenomenalstemist.com, where you can click registration for Phenomenal STEM Prep, and join that. Have your child join that program for 3 months. So the month of March, April, and May. So by the time they get out of school, they would have learned the foundation of biology, chemistry, and physics. When you give them a good foundation, they can be one of these famous Black people that I've covered all month long. All right, hope to hear from you. Feel free to inbox me your information. I'll have you signed up right away. It's basically $80 for 3 months of preparation. All right, thanks so much. I don't see anybody. I saw someone joining, but I haven't seen any questions. So have a good rest of the Black History Month. I am the Phenomenal STEMist.